Hello, hello, hello. I am back again. Will not be defeated. I had some technical difficulties on my phone. Not sure why the sound isn't moving forward on my phone. I'm going to look at it when I get done with this because my goal was to actually tape 3 today, right? Because I was in Ireland. So what I was saying is that I was in Ireland, and while I was there, I was trying to do my weekly lives, but for some reason, the sound wasn't there. So then I got started again today, and people were joining in, and then they were saying that they couldn't hear me. So as you're joining, would you please say, yes, I can hear you, so I can go into my 15 minutes of inspiration. I want to inspire you for 15 minutes. So who's there? Can you hear me? Please say, yes, I can hear you, so I can move on, or give me a thumbs up, a like, or something like that. Sharon, can you hear me? I'm trying to get started. Now I'm on my iPad. So for whatever reason, you guys were not hearing me on my phone. So I just want to know if you guys can hear me on the iPad. Sharon, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you for being my eyes and ears. I appreciate you. So I don't know what's going on with my phone. I'm not even going to trip about it. So welcome to 15 minutes of inspiration. 15 minutes of inspiration. Today we are on week 48. My goal is to go over week 49 and week 50 probably, because I want to finish up this series this month. So while I was in Ireland, I did not have an opportunity to do the lives. One, because for some reason the Wi-Fi wasn't connecting, and y'all know me, I'm kind of frugal, so I wasn't going to pay for the unlimited data. So anywho, I am here today. So my goal is to do at least 3 videos today. So once I take this one, I'm going to come back on and do another one and another one, and I'd appreciate it as every time I sign off, you guys sign back in and hang out with me. Hey Malik, hey Pastor Margie. So today our topic is week number 48. Week number 48. So if you have your book, Running Things, The Resilient Spirit of a Leader, that's what we're talking about. And in week 48, the topic is diversity and inclusion. So for you all that don't know, I am Teresa S. McCurry, the CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of Super T Inspires. And I'm also the senior pastor of New Beginnings Ministries. And I'm also the CEO of Conquering COVID Network. And we want to welcome you guys to this 15 minutes of inspiration today. I come on here every Thursday for 15 minutes to just give you a little inspiration out of the book Running Things. And like I said, today the topic is diversity and inclusion. And I know when you hear diversity and inclusion, it has a different connotation with the world. But the way that I want to present diversity and inclusion today, the definition that I have, I says a company that embraces diversity can broaden its skill base and become more competitive and innovative. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about diversity and inclusion as it relates to race, as it relates to age. I'm talking about diversity and inclusion as it relates to nationality. And I'm talking about diversity and inclusion as it relates to various skill sets. So when you're thinking about your business, when you're thinking about your ministry, and when you're thinking about your organization, having people of various skill sets, having people of various age groups, and a diverse group of people, and you include them in what you're doing, you're going to get more done that way. Why? Because people with different age groups and different skill set, they come to the table with different things. And when you're including people in as it relates to diversity and inclusion, it just helps you. So the Bible says that we are one body in Christ. So we're all inclusive. So the hands don't do what the feet do, and the elbows don't do what the knees do, but we all come together as one body. And when you look at your business and when you look at your organization, you want to look at it that same way as well. So when we think about it, first of all, when I'm talking about diversity and inclusion, it creates opportunities to fellowship with great minds and influence your niche and your line of business, or your ministry and your line of what it is that God has called you to do. So when God has called you to do something, that is your niche. My husband calls it your fingerprint. I call it your flavor, right? So when God calls you to do something, it's a certain niche, a certain industry, a certain flavor that he's called you to serve. And in the midst of you serving the population that God has called you to serve, if you can cross-pollinate, if you can get with other people, if you can work with diversity and inclusion of other individuals, you all can go so much further. Why? Because you all bring something different to the table. So with that being said, the resources that you're holding on can help you be accountable by improving and including other people in. So the resources that you are holding for yourself helps you to be accountable for improving diversity and inclusion. So as I am being the CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of Super T Inspires, I want to work with a diverse group of people that's going to help to push me forward. Because I don't know everything. And there's certain areas that I have weaknesses in that other people may have strengths in, and other people may have strengths in that I may have weaknesses in. So with that being said, when you're working with a diverse group of people, they're going to bring something different to the table. Hashtag, put it in the chat, hashtag something different. Hashtag something different. It's important for you to bring something different to the table because we all want to be able to grow as individuals. So I may know more about numbers. Somebody else may know more about the law. Somebody else may know more about dealing with customer service and customer relations. But when we put that all together, we are a strong unit and we can move forward in the things that God has called us to do for such a time as this. So with that being said, I love the fact that when we're thinking about diversity and inclusion, one of the things that we have to say is people's uniqueness is a good thing. Put that in the chat. Unique is a good thing. So people's uniqueness is a good thing. And when somebody comes to the table and they're different from you, don't be upset with their differences or intimidated by their differences. You want to embrace their differences. Hey, Daisy, thanks for joining. You want to embrace those differences. So when you're in business, when you're in ministry, when you have an organization, when you think about diversity and inclusion, uniqueness is a good thing. So one of the things that you want to do when people are unique, you want to embrace that uniqueness. You want to help cultivate that because that is their fingerprint. That is their flavor. That's the flow that God has called them to flow in. So when it comes to diversity and inclusion, you want to include people into your circle. You want to help them to see where it is that you're going, and then in turn, you want to see where it is that they're going. I don't know if y'all ever read this book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So in the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey says that first you want to understand, then be understood. First, you want to understand, then be understood. What does that mean? First, I want to understand where you're coming from. I want to understand what it is you think about this situation. I want to understand why you move the way you move, why you flow the way you flow. And then once I understand why you do the things that you do, then you're more likely to hear me when I'm explaining to you why I do the things that I do. Am I making sense? So first, you want to understand, then be understood. So when it comes to diversity and inclusion, you want to understand why somebody flow in the way that they flow. And once you understand that, then you can share your piece. Another thing about it, you want to make sure that when you're working with people and they are different from you, you want to help them to feel welcome. You want to help them to feel listened to and understood. So when it comes to diversity and inclusion, I know the world has a whole nother way of looking at it. The way that I look at it and the way that I talk about it in my book is different. So I'm going to read a little passage for you really quickly. It says, diversity also comes with competition, with diverse interests, values, and perceptions. If well managed, this can result in improved business and performance, but if you poorly manage it, it will result in workplace conflict. Despite the drawbacks, diversity in business nonetheless remains a sound business principle. So I would say business right there, but the same thing applies to ministry and the same thing applies to nonprofit organizations. So as we're moving forward, we want to operate out of a place of diversity and inclusion. We want to include people in on the conversation that's different from us, that has a different way of thinking, that has a different opinion from our own, because only thing that's going to do is help you to grow. So it's not like I'm trying to brainwash you or change your mind about something. I'm trying to bring something diverse to the table, because there's certain life experiences that I have that you wouldn't have. And then there's certain life experiences that you have that I wouldn't have. But when we come together as a unit and we can share about our experiences, and we can share about where it is that we have gone and what it is that we have been through and the things that we've learned in that process, we can bring all of those to the table, and we can work together in harmony and in unity for the cause that we're coming together for. So with that being said, I will be back. So y'all tune back in, right? Because I told y'all I was doing 3 of them today. So with that being said, we're on week number 48, diversity and inclusion. Diversity also creates opportunities to fellowship with great minds and influence in your niche, in your line of business. So you want to fellowship with other people. The Bible calls it iron sharpening iron. You want to fellowship with people that have a different way of looking at things, a different view, a different perspective. They also call that a paradigm shift, because when you hear something from a different perspective, then you can come back and think about it, and you can have a paradigm shift as it relates to that experience as well. So I don't know where I'm at on time today, because I was a little behind. But I want to let you guys know that these 15 minutes of inspiration will be ending this month. So this is the last month that I'll be doing the 15 minutes of inspiration. Today we just talked about week number 48. I'm going to come back on and do week number 49 and 50. And then the next 2 I'll do individually, because I'm trying to catch up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed these 15 minutes of inspiration. Starting next month. Next month is April. I'm taking off in April. But starting in May, I will come back and I will be working in my trilogy series. And my trilogy book series, I'll be doing something called 30 minutes of impartation. So we've done the 15 minutes of inspiration. We'll be circling back with the 30 minutes of impartation. That will be starting in May. So I'll be posting some flyers and stuff like that so you guys can know that it is coming. So again, I am Teresa S. McCurry, the CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of Super T Inspires, and I'm also the Senior Pastor at New Beginnings Ministries. And I have been coming to you for the last 48 weeks out of this book, Running Things, The Resilient Spirit of a Leader. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will circle back and come right back on, and I'm going to be talking about originality, week number 49. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. Give me 5 minutes and I'm coming right back on. My time is up. I want to thank you for yours. Be blessed, but most of all, be inspired.